Come on, you Reds.
Hello guys, we are back here on TFTV. To my left we have got Rad.
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm good, I hope you're well.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Well, we're going into like the last game before Christmas and it's Hull at home, so how do you feel going into the Hull game?
Well, off the back of Swansea, very confident, really. Swansea was another incredible performance. I was just thinking the other day, like, it's hard to pick my favourite game this season because we already had, quite a few big results with a lot of goals in, Birmingham, Preston, Swansea, and, we've had quite a few. And, you look at last season and we only scored 3 twice. So, yeah, it's so much better to watch and a lot more encouraging. And every game at the moment, I'm not. I always have a little inkling back of my head thinking, well, we are Forest still, so we might make a mess of this. But at the moment, that doesn't tend to happen, which is great. We actually tend to at least get a draw out of games, and we started to win games now instead of drawing a load in a row. It's good that we stopped the route of doing that, and we did it in style against Swansea, and obviously it was a little bit scrappy against Peterborough at times, but we got the win in the end. When I think that's the difference, really, with Cooper in charge now, and it's just so encouraging to see. Obviously, I know Hull, they've picked up a lot recently. They were struggling a lot at the start of the season, but I believe they're like 6 games unbeaten and they've won quite a few of them. So if this was a few weeks ago, I would have been probably looking at it like I was looking at Peterborough, thinking, it should be quite an easy win. But I think Hull are going to make it quite difficult for us. Probably harder than Peterborough, to be honest, because I think Hull probably will stay up the way they're going. They have got some good players. They're starting to, establish themselves, hopefully for them anyway, in the Championship again. So I don't think it's going to be an easy match. But I mean, I'm quietly confident that we'll get the win. I wouldn't, if we were to draw, it would be a bit disappointing. But then again, Hull are on good form, so I suppose you have to take that into account. But look forward to it. Hopefully, it'll be a win for us.
Yeah, definitely. Hull have been one of them. I think up to Saturday they won 4 games on the trot before Saturday or something.
Yeah, they're on good form. Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of all fans wanted their manager at one point, from what I was reading. So for him to turn it around is massive.
Yeah. I mean, I saw. I didn't really know much about Grant McCann at the start of the season, but I still don't know a huge amount about him now, to be honest. But I've seen that he has obviously massively improved that team. I know they've been playing a few teams that you'd probably expect them to beat if they're going to beat anyone, like they beat Cardiff and Barnsley, who are struggling. I forget the other teams, but they've been getting some good results. I was saying before that they were pretty hopeless. It is good for them, but it's going to be make this game a little bit harder than I think it would have been even a month ago, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Forest showed quite a lot against Swansea on Saturday. I mean, first half, how we defended. I mean, they had a lot more of the ball and we're so much better defensively drilled. I mean, second half, we took our chances really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's weird because, like, Swansea had so much of the ball in that game, yet we beat them 4-1, and this shows we're clinical now. And the big thing last season is we couldn't score enough goals. I think we're only like literally 5 goals away from beating the entire tally last season, which is just, how did we survive last season watching Chris Hughton ball when you think of it like that? We're not even quite at the halfway stage. It's just mental. But yeah, it just shows that we can take our chances now. And this is a Forest team that is getting heavily publicised that it needs to get a striker, and yet we're still scoring loads of goals. I do still think we do need a striker, but we have still shown that, particularly when we were drawing a lot of games and those 2 goalless draws in a row. He was crying out for a striker, but since then we've got going again. We scored 6 in 2 games, which is fantastic, and it just shows how we can just flick a switch now and we just start, just tearing teams apart. Like first half, we weren't incredible. I think Swansea probably was quite evenly matched. I don't think Swansea were anything special either. Of course, I remember that chance that their striker had that's not Pirlo, Piero or something.
Yeah.
That was a golden chance for them. The second half, we were just on it from the very get-go. We scored 2 goals in the first 5 minutes, which is just excellent. And, when they scored, I think if it was Forest the last season or at the start of the year, I thought, oh, we go, we're going to bottle this. But no, we kept going. And even when we bought, we're seeing Cafu get into the team now, and at least off the bench, which is good to see him, for his sake, get back into the side a little bit more. You think a few weeks ago, maybe, well, we're going a bit defensive here, surely, but no, he goes and scores one himself as well. So, it's really good to see.
Yeah, I mean, for Cafu to kind of come out of the darkness and then of coming straight back into this team, I mean, they will the players that not painful to be more that they can get back in.
Yeah, I mean, it's even better when you realise the players in front of him. It's not like any of them have gone off form, so he could come into the side. It was suspensions to Yates and Colback that have allowed him to get on the bench a few times. He did relatively well, and he's now getting chances again. I don't see him starting in this team really at all, but I do think he's a useful option to have. I don't think he's long term. I don't see him being with us for years on end, but I think he is a good option. And he's got a lot of passion for us, which is great to see. Like, he always gives 100%. And when he came on for the first time against Luton, I think, that was his first game in ages, and he was just going at it. He was really trying hard, which is excellent to see for any player. And obviously we know. I think our midfield is the strongest area of the team, really. Every player is playing really well. Obviously we're linked with Fulton from Swansea, and I don't really know how he would fit in, to be honest, given how good our midfield is at the moment. I wouldn't be so against it, to be honest, but I just don't really know how it would fit in, given the fact we've got such a strong midfield now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that department. But it's good to see Cafu get back into the side a bit.
Yeah, the one player that I looked at it gone out when I seen team news, but it was nice for him to get the full 90 minutes. It's 2-2.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we were on about it last week saying about the left back, but for him to come slot straight back in without playing no football and actually didn't look like out of his step.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well. Like, his first game in 2 months, and obviously he's had injuries last season and in the past as well. It is one of his weaknesses. He's a bit injury prone, but I think it was good to see him get a go. And the fact that he played a full 90 minutes is, fantastic to say that he's managed to get fit enough to do that. I think he was at times a little bit rusty. Like, he made that terrible mistake in the first half, which, well, it could have been a terrible mistake for their striker. But, obviously, the third goal, it was actually from his shot. And it just obviously was saved by Hamer, and then Johnson got it. But it's great to see him get back into the team. And I think just the right time, it's not like Lowe was out and we had to just persevere with Bong and playing Colback out of position. We do go and get the other left back become fit in the same time frame as Lowe being out. Even though he's technically a right back, it is a bit of a concern again that he's also on loan like Lowe is. That these are short-term options. I'm not going to be like going mad saying, "Oh, we've got to keep him." Like some players, if he continues to do really well, then I probably will do. But yeah, it's great to see him getting games. I'm a lot more confident with him playing there than Bong or Colback, to be honest, because Jack needs to be in the midfield. That is where his position is. He should play there for me. And it's great, the fact that Garner's coming back into his own, and Yates is a different player. He can even play at centre half, Yates, as we saw at the weekend. So it's great to see that players are so versatile.
Oh, definitely, it is nice. I mean, Saturday, like you said earlier, I mean, we're not going to be expecting an easy game out of Hull because obviously with RDR, so and obviously they will come here, and I'll probably be expecting them to do any away performance and play like 4-5-1 or whatever it is. Team
Yeah.
so, not trying to be negative, but
Yeah.
but yeah, completely agree with you. Would you stick to this formation?
What, we're playing five
For,
at the back basically with Yates is basically a centre back.
well, either really. If would you like to see the
Yeah.
3-5-2 or the 4-2-3-1?
I mean, I like the fact we can adapt. I mean, we can play both really and play multiple formations. And even if, normally when we play three at the back, we play Figueiredo alongside Wall and McKenna. But the fact that Figs was ill and then we had to, obviously we didn't have any other centre backs that were fit either. It is good to see that we could just basically play a midfielder there. I think Yates wasn't playing completely at centre back; he was still playing midfield, but he was kind of like drifting, like a sweeper, really. Like he was drifting in between midfield and defence, which I think he did well. Like I did see quite a few times where he was like literally right at the back, and I was thinking, okay, well, that's interesting, but he did well. I'm not sure whether it's a long-term solution playing Yates as centre back. It's probably just if you have to play Yates there, to be honest. But honestly, I like the fact we can play both formations. I like playing the three centre backs with normally Lowe and Spence on the flanks. I think the fact that Lowe's been injured, it's kind of forced us to play different formations. Whether we can play Bong and Colback or 2-2 on the left. Obviously, we're having to really mix things up at the moment with who to play there. I think Tusi is going to be playing there for the foreseeable until Lowe's back, to be fair. I would hope that Lowe would stay with us permanently. I think he's by far our best left back. And you look at Sheffield, like they've got loads of left backs. So I think Lowe probably wants to stay with us. And obviously, we've seen Spence apparently wants to stay with us until the end of the season at the very least, which would be a huge development if we could do that. Managed to keep probably one of the best loan signings in a very long time for Forest with us when he's from another Championship club as well. So yeah, honestly, I would play either. Like it doesn't really answer the question, but I don't mind us playing four at the back or three centre backs with wing backs. It works either way, seemingly with Cooper at the moment. And obviously at the start we were playing five at the back mainly, and then I think against Preston we started with four at the back, and obviously we won that 3-0. So yeah, it's great to see that we can adapt now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in game as well, I don't understand completely like that. But if we do play like Colback and Yates there, I mean, in game as well, I know Sean O'Driscoll kind of mentioned it when he was manager that if they have to adapt to IS, they could always switch it in game without making the sub, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we did that a lot, didn't we, at the start of the season when we were playing five, if we were drawing or even losing, which we weren't. At the start of the season, I remember we kept going 1-0 down a lot under Cooper, but we always managed to get something from the game, which, just that says it all. That was the difference. If that was Houghton, we would have just lost. As we saw quite a lot of the time at the start of the year, we'd either go take the lead and throw it away or not just bother even trying. But with Cooper, Barnsley and Millwall, we went behind in those games. Obviously, we let Blackpool equalise against us. We went and got the winner. In all those games, we played three centre-backs with wing-backs. And then if we go attacking, we take one of the centre-backs off and bring on like a Mighton or a Taylor or, a Lolly maybe. And then we revert to four at the back. And I think that's why playing four at the back is good, because it works all the time. But if you do want to go a bit attacking, you can just take a centre back off, and it's not like you're down to like one centre back. You've still got two on the pitch, which is great. And Figs is always the one that tends to go off when we play that, which I think is he's probably the weakest of the three. So yeah, I don't mind either way. I like the fact we can do both of them, to be honest.
Yeah. With the whole game of Sorrel, how do you feel the scoreline will be, and especially going into it?
I mean, if we can beat Swansea 4-1, you'd probably think Hull would be about the same, but I don't think it will be 4-1, to be honest, because obviously our home form isn't as good as the away form currently. I do think Hull are going to be harder than Swansea, arguably, right now on form, which, looking at the league, you probably would say, well, surely Swansea would, but I mean, Swansea are only about 3 places above Hull now, because Swansea have been on an awful run of form. I think Hull are probably going to be more threatening than Swansea were. It's just the kind of game that, a few years ago, remember we lost to Hull in the year where we were in the playoffs most of the time. So anything can happen. I would be disappointed if we lost, of course. More disappointed than normal, losing to a team in the bottom half, and we're now in the top 8, which is insane, really. Would I take a draw? I'm not so sure. I think I'd be disappointed with the draw, to be honest. And I like the fact that if we don't win, even against a side like West Brom, we come away disappointed. And it's not like, oh, we're happy with the points away at third. We're disappointed we didn't win, which is just that's brilliant, that mentality. But anyway, my score line, I think I'll go 2-0, maybe 2-1. I think I'll go 2-0 to Forest, which I'll definitely take that.
Oh, nice. Nice clean sheet as well.
We're keeping a lot of them at the moment, aren't we? So to keep
5
good to
and
keep another
7.
one.
Beat it 4 and 7 into it or something.
Yeah, I mean, since international break, we've only conceded to Reading and Swansea, which is that's crazy. So it's good that we're starting to keep a lot more clean sheets now.
Yeah, definitely, I do agree. It is, and it will breed confidence for the attacking players that we're keeping clean sheets. I think they should be relying on defence, but then it gives that confidence for the other side of the pitch to actually go and score goals. So
yeah, I mean, the 2 goals we conceded, like Reading, it was just a bit of a, it was poor defending for their goal, remember, and Swansea, it was just a deflection. So 2 unfortunate goals to concede, really. And again, like Reading, we didn't go on and get a winner like we have done in the past, and it was a bit of a disappointing result. That in ways, one of the few under Cooper. Swansea, though, we let them score when we were 2 up, and then we just went and scored under 2, which is. That's the big difference, I think, between how Forest play nowadays. We this never die attitude. We always go for it every time, and that's just fantastic. Like I don't remember seeing it myself, but I saw. I've seen people saying like in the 90th minute, you're seeing players sprint like 30 yards just to get back when they're leading like 3-1. It's fantastic to see that attitude.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for Rads for coming on.
No problem.
I'd like to thank you for watching, guys.